Well, hello. Looks like there's nobody here. Well, we'll give it a little bit of time here. It's been a hot day. Been working all day. Got home here and, well, I didn't get a notification up early. So I've got somebody in here. Oh, a couple people. Mary Catherine, welcome. Barb's Country Home, welcome. Warren Lewis, hello. Judy Bond, welcome. Glad you all could make it out. I didn't put up, I guess I did get an announcement up, but it was pretty late when I got it up, so I don't know how many people will be coming in, but I'm glad to have you all here. We have had quite a bit of hot weather, and it's been humid. It's been real humid. But we had a storm last night. It ended our drought, but it also did quite a little bit of damage. There was a lot of wind and apparently and a lot of heavy rain. And my sweet corn got knocked down, some of it. I think it'll be all right. I think it'll come back. But yeah, Judy, you know what I'm talking about. It came down hard and heavy. Our power went out, but you know it wasn't too terrible. I got several calls today from storm chasers to see if I needed work done on my roof and so forth, but we didn't get any damage really to the buildings at all that I can tell. But we did get a little bit of damage to the crops. So yeah, I don't know what they're calling for tonight. It looks pretty clear out there. Up by my mother's house, night before last, they had a really bad storm and lost some trees and had some, not directly on the property, but in the area around them. And in fact, there were four towns that were without of electricity for quite some time. Hey, Jandera's Homestead, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. We're just talking about the weather right now. Yeah, Barbara, I don't know that it was any permanent damage, but it knocked some of the corn stalks were kind of twisted up and they don't look great. And my Roma tomatoes, I think, probably sustained the most damage. And I think they're going to be okay. I think they'll come back up and be fine. But hey, they call me Shaky. How you doing? Glad to have you here. Boy, with the crowd we've drawn, I feel almost like preaching tonight. Moonsprouts, welcome to the live. We're just talking a little bit of weather and a little bit about the garden. Just telling people that our sweet corn got kind of blown around and twisted, but we've got good ears going. They're not anywhere near ready to be picked. Maybe another 3 weeks. So we're tomorrow. I'm going to spray for corn borers and see how that goes. It's my phone. I shut the phone, turn it off there. Jesus is Lord. Welcome to the site. Mother Goose is not home from work yet. She should be home in 20 minutes or so. But she's back to work, feeling a little bit better, which is good. But one of the things that really surprised me when I walked out to the field today, man, we got weeds. I had stuff pretty well weeded out, and we've had one small rain and then that heavy rain last night. My rain gauge was laying on its side, so I don't know how much water we got, but I'm guessing we got maybe three plus inches. Could have been a lot more than that. I really don't know. Judy, if you have any idea how much rain we got, go ahead and post it up there. But we needed the rain desperately, but so okay, yeah, your son. Okay, so Judy is saying that Gary, her son, is going to be preaching his first sermon on the 8th, on Sunday the 8th. And so we'll keep him in prayer that he does well. Yeah, Judy said we got about 3 to 5 inches. I think that's correct. Joe Serrano, welcome to the live. Yeah, Mama's not home yet, but she'll be home in 15, 20 minutes. Judy, is that around here that he's going to be preaching? In the Northern Illinois area? Oh, it's your brother. Yeah, okay. Well, we know each other well, but not well enough, I guess. So what else is happening? We've been getting a lot of cucumbers. This year I planted, that's right, Goldsboro, North Carolina. You had mentioned that. This year I planted national pickling cucumbers. In the past, I always planted something Snap Pack or something like that. And this year I tried the national pickling cucumbers. I got them from Haas Tools, and they seem to do really well. Sandy, hi. For those of you who don't know, Sandy Bjorkman is Mama Goose. So she's on writing in from her telephone. That's how that works out. So Red Road Homestead, hello, welcome to the live. Gypsy and Vanilla Gorilla, I was out at your site the other day, but I watched a couple older episodes that I'd seen before. I was showing the trolls off to somebody, but I don't know if I said hi while I was there or not. Sometimes I forget. But so, yeah, I kind of mentioned this. We went out to the field this morning. We had a pretty torrential storm last night and lost power, and we didn't get any water in the basement, but the sweet corn got pretty knocked around. Yes, hello, Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla. I don't think it hurt the plant. It just looks kind of nasty right now. And the Roma tomatoes took quite a hit, but I think they'll be fine. But the heat, we've had a lot more heat this year than we normally do. I would say we're probably 5 or 6 degrees above what we normally are. And that keeps me busy because I fix air conditioners to pay the bills. So that has caused the garden to get a little bit away from me the last 2 weeks. And it's not going to get any better for the next couple of weeks. So I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do. But I don't know if we're going to end up going out to our stand this year and selling. I think once the squash come in and the pumpkins and all that, I think we'll get out. We'll have potatoes and onions and all that. I think we'll probably make it to the stand. But we will, Judy, we will keep them in our prayers. That's good to hear that Mama's healing. So, Joe is saying it's 10:15, or Gendera is saying it's 10:15 Friday morning. So, Gendera, you'll have to let us know if Friday's worth it or if I should just stay in bed. I've got a bunch of work that has to be done. So, we'll be getting up. I have been sleeping in a lot later the last couple of nights. I don't know if it's because the storm woke me up, but I don't set an alarm or anything like that. I normally get up around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I don't think I got out of bed until, I don't know, it's probably 6:45 this morning when I got out of bed. So, but you sometimes you can, Gendera says, stay in bed if you can. The way things are going nowadays, I think that's true for every day. Yeah, Judy's mentioned in here. I remember when my kids were real little, I've got fond memories of that. They were so small, but they grew up so fast, and I know everybody always says that, but it is very true. Very true. So this Saturday, I will not be on live, but I will be broadcasting. I'll have a pre-recorded video. I'm going to put it up as a premiere. And it is going to be on hermeneutics, the science of Bible study. And it really is a science. There are rules involved, and those rules, if you follow them, these aren't denominational type rules or anything like that. They're just rules for studying literature, in particular the Bible, and they will help you quite a bit to steer clear of wrong interpretation and false teaching, and help you to identify false teaching when you see and hear it. So I'd encourage you to come by this Saturday. Hopefully we'll post that as a premiere, and I will have a internet connection where I'm at, and I'll be able to join you in the premiere and join you in the chat on my telephone. Unfortunately, the YouTube will not let me broadcast live off my telephone. I don't have enough subscribers. We just passed the 500 mark, which is pretty exciting for us. We're at 503. It's funny. We sat at 450 forever. And every time we'd get up to about 456, 457, we'd lose subscribers. Then we'd get up to about 65 and lose subscribers. We finally, when we got to 495, all of the sudden, we went to 503. So I don't know if I don't know how that happens, why all of a sudden, 5 people subscribe, and I wish I knew how. I'd keep doing it. But yeah, thank you, Judy, and thank you, Warren. These are big markers in life. Actually, I'm not too worried about it. When I first started on YouTube, I thought, man, I want to get monetized, and of course, when I get there, I'll be happy to be there, I suppose. But I've actually enjoyed, even without monetization, I really enjoy coming on live and seeing some people that I've seen in the past. Thank you, Jandera. And Jandera, I did not even think about that. I might look into that a little bit, and maybe I will be able to do it live, although sometimes we don't get a very clear channel on the phone up there. So I'll probably pre-record it anyway. And I'll be back for next weekend, the following Saturday. I'll be back here live from the house, and we'll see how well it goes, the pre-recorded. I've actually started some of the pre-recording. So Gypsy and Vanilla Gorilla says, great news. And I assume you're saying on the 500, you had a lot to do with it. I appreciate it. And if not, if you've got other great news, let me know what that is. It's fun to see the numbers, because they do account for how many people have been watching. Jandera's Homestead, thank you. I will check that out. I'll probably do it tonight. I'll probably go on there tonight and watch it. Jeff knows how to do all that stuff too, the Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla. He is pretty amazing when it comes to some of the cutting and editing. When I take screenshots and put them in my videos, like for the Will It Grow versus Bunky videos, I actually film the screen and then cut those in. I don't know how to actually transfer them in the computer. Hedgehog's Homestead, welcome to the live. I'm going to be having sour cream cucumbers in the very near future. We picked about 2 pounds of cucumbers today, and that's about what we get every day. They're just starting to really come on, and so we'll see how well they go, but we're getting quite a few. Red Road Homestead, if you go over to Hedgehog Homestead's site, she has a recipe. I believe it was out of the Pillsbury cookbook, and I got that cookbook too. That and the Betty Crocker cookbook, I think we got them as wedding gifts many, many years ago. Jeff is saying that the Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla is saying we just did a 3-day brine. They turned out good, but they deleted the footage. I have done that. You challenged me to doing a video on my collection, and I did a video on my collection, and it got deleted accidentally as well. So I've got to do that again. It actually got deleted, and I normally leave everything on the camera and just transfer it over, but somehow I took it off the camera and put it on the computer, and then I deleted most of it. I've still got some of it, but we'll have to see. Yeah, if any of you are here and you haven't been to some of the other people's home channels, make sure you check them out. Everybody who's on here, generally speaking, well, there's some people who don't have any content on their channel, and of course that's fine. But I try to get out to anybody's site that watches the page. It's difficult in the summertime because we're working when it gets hot. We're working a lot of hours, and then the garden, it's taken a toll on me this year. I know we'll do a garden next year, and every year I go about saying, well, we're going to get bigger. We're going to get bigger. And this year, for the first time, I think I might say I'm going to go a little smaller. But we'll see. So, hey, I think somebody just walked in. Mother Goose? Oh, it's not. I thought it was Mother Goose coming in, but it wasn't. It was somebody else. Oh. Yeah, I've got some peppers that would make it insanely hot. We've got some ghost peppers, and we're not growing them this year, but we've got a lot of those what were they? Chili peppers. No. No, I'm drawing a blank. But I don't eat a lot of hot food. The pie was delicious. Actually, there's still a little bit more. I can wrap it up and send it to you, but I don't know that it'll make it. Actually, it'll probably be gone by the end of the night. I have to discipline myself not to eat some of that stuff because it runs my sugar up. So I'm going to put these up so that Mama Goose can see them as she's watching. It was I don't know that it will. We'll have to. Actually, and I don't want to say it, that it's an easy recipe because Sandy was able to make it. Sandy can make really complicated stuff. She made us some cardamom coffee cake that is delicious. And Christmas time around here is just fattening. But that pie is really not that difficult to make. We didn't get enough strawberries out of our own garden, so we had to use some strawberries we bought. Uh-oh. Jeff, you got a competitor. Sandy's brother wants some. Bob, we're going to have to come down there and make it for you. That's what we're going to have to do. Oh, excuse me. So if any of you haven't met, Craps for Life is my brother-in-law, Bob. He has added a tremendous amount to our garden and to the things that we have done. Taught me everything I know about tomatoes, which isn't much because he hasn't taught me half or a third of what he knows. But over time, I'll get it out of him. Jeff, you can pretty much improve the taste of anything by adding butter. Anything worth eating can be enhanced with butter. And you can put the butter on the outside of the crust or on the inside of the crust, but man, does it make that crust taste good. So the Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla has got quite a nice tomato layout there as well. A lot of them. So, well, let's see. So those of you who might be wondering, it's kind of official. I am not going to be putting the plastic on the hoop house until after the season ends. I will get it on before winter because I want it done before we get to next spring. But I have cucumbers growing on the outside of the poles now, and so until they die back, which will be probably in another 2 to 3 weeks, because it's going to get too hot and they're not going to make it. But Judy, when Sandy and I were down in South Carolina about 3 years ago, we went to Paula Deen's restaurant. Excellent restaurant. Dipped crackers in butter and ate fresh Cherokees last night. Yeah, my dad's favorite thing to eat before going to bed was to take graham crackers and put butter on the top of them. And he'd eat that as a snack before going to bed. I like putting butter. I like butter a lot. That's probably why I am 7 or 8 pounds overweight. Only 7 or 8. But so just trying to catch up on the and they've got one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina as well. And it is it's a nice restaurant. You eat family style, so you go in and you order 2 entrees. We were 2 people, so we each ordered an entree, and it comes out on a serving plate, and then you can share your entrees. It's really kind of a nice way to do it because you can share your meal. You could put a little butter inside the bologna too, Jeff. That'd be fine. Jesus Lord says that she's got one in Tennessee also. When we went to Paula Deen's, we went on Sunday and after church, and the waiting period, it was almost an hour and a half. It was a relatively new restaurant at the time, but I wasn't sure I wanted to wait an hour and a half, and we did, and it was well worth it. I think it was the first time I had collards. I told people that I had never had collards before, and then we got to thinking about it. And at Paula Deen's, we had collards, and they were delicious. Vineyard Chicks, welcome to the live. Mother Goose isn't with us yet. She's actually watching, I think, on her phone, but she's just getting off of work. So, hey, I don't know who I'm talking to, if it's KK or Trey or Bunky. Did you guys get the storm last night? Did you get a bad storm? Now, Judy, is that nice? His Seattle taste buds can certainly handle Paula Deen's cooking. Oof. Apples down and some branches. I didn't even check my apple trees. I'm going to go out there after this live. I was real hopeful that we get some apples this year. The last couple years, between the Asian beetles and the wind, last year I think it was pretty much the wind. And this year we had quite a few apples that looked like they were going to come in, and not good. So, yeah, as I said this earlier, but some of our corn got knocked down a little bit. Warren, I got my first okra. I've tried growing okra for several years, and last year I planted it, I think 3 times, and didn't end up really with any okra. And I don't know. I the first one that I got, I pulled it off. I ate it raw. People say it tastes slimy. This didn't taste slimy at all, but the outer shell of it was really, really tough. So I think in the future I'm going to have to cook them. We know you are, Judy, and we forgive you. It's all good. So, well, let's see. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a simple recipe, pretty straightforward, and it is delicious. So, yeah. Last year, we got about this time of year, maybe actually a little bit later. We had a wind come through and knock. Last year I had 600 or 700 pepper plants, and it just knocked them. We thought we were going to lose them, but we didn't lose any. They all came back, and some of them were almost pruned and came back thick. So, Craze Family Homestead, welcome to the live. Yeah, so this okra was maybe a little bit bigger than my thumb, and it was the first one I saw, and it was growing straight up off to the top of the plant. So I'm thinking maybe as they mature, I'll be able to they'll be more tender. The other problem is with my phony teeth, it's hard. My gums are still tender, so it's hard to bite down on anything. So they may not have been as hard as I thought they were. So. Yeah, I agree with that. The outside of it was not good, but the seeds inside, once I got to them and started chewing them up, they were excellent, excellent. Oh, I don't think you can offend me. I'm pretty sure I'm unable to be offended. So Gray's Family Homestead, we are very warm up here right now. And it really doesn't cool off at night. The other day I think it was Saturday, we were out working and it was terribly, terribly hot and humid. And I went down, I was in our Quonset hut, which is our main barn, and I went down to our metal barn. And as I was in there, it started to rain. And as I walked out, man, there was a cold front came through, but it only lasted for a few minutes. But so no flowers yet. I think you got plenty of time. You're a little warmer than I am, so you might do better. Last year I couldn't get okra to grow for anything, but this year it's hot enough. Seems to be doing well. Slick, slimy, boiled okra. That does not, those words do not form a good advertisement for me. Our sweet potatoes failed entirely this year. Let's see. Cooler nights will make it tough as well. You know, that actually makes sense. Where I have them, they're getting a little shade. I'm actually growing them in pots because I want to be able to keep them in the hottest part of the area, and then I was taking them inside at night. So I wonder if maybe when those formed, it was still cool at night. So I'm hopeful for better okra as things go by. Judy, or Jesus Lord, I love pickled okra. My sister-in-law makes pickled okra, and it's a little spicy, and she puts some kind of spice in it, I suppose, but it is fantastic. And it's a little bit of a different okra, I think, than I have. I believe that what I have is Clemson spineless. And I think hers, well, at least the way it grew, it was thinner and longer. The one I ate yesterday was probably, I would say, 3 inches long and the better part of 3/4 of an inch around. Looked kind of pointy at one end and flat on the other. I suppose that's the way okra looks. But I'm going to keep going on it and see if we do a little bit better. Judy says she likes them fried. Once in a blue moon, she'll eat fried chicken. Boy, I'd have to have a lot of blue moons. A lot of blue moons. We had fried okra at Country Buffet one time, and it was good. So I always look at that and say, well, if it's good at Country Buffet, then it's got to be great if it's cooked at home. Dehydrated okra. I have never thought about that. Might have to do that. Simply Jan, hello, welcome to the live. Thank you for coming. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't seen Jan's Bunky imitation, it'll make you laugh. Yeah, Gypsy and Vanilla Gorilla, the okra and soup. I think that's probably the first place I ever had okra, and I didn't even know I was having it. But some of the vegetable soups that I grew up eating had okra in them. Granny Moreno, welcome to the live. Thank you for coming by. So, of course, Jan, I'm not sure if your imitation of Bunky was nearly as spot on as Bunky's imitation of the loose faucet. That was pretty good. In my brain, it's going to taste spectacular. I like that. So for those of you who wondered, the supersized beets that we had that I showed you last week, we ate them. They were phenomenal. And I picked another big one during my rhubarb video, and hopefully we'll cook that up and eat that in the next couple of days. But there was enough beets there that I was eating beets at lunchtime, probably 3 or 4 meals. I could eat beets at every meal, I think. Steve from the garden, welcome to the live. I imagine you got some damage from that storm last night as well. I hope not, but we got a little bit of damage to our sweet corn and some other things, and I think everything's going to make it. But all day today, I've been getting phone calls from companies that want to come out and give us a price of putting a new roof on. So maybe I ought to climb up on the roof and make sure that there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't think the storm hit here with violently enough to hurt the roof. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, a lot of wind, but I don't know that there was any hail. I could be wrong because I slept through some of it. But we must have lost power because everything was flashing in the morning. But I've fallen behind the chat here, so I'm trying to catch up. Larry Gandy, welcome to the live. Thank you for coming by. Well, that's good, Steve. Hope your neighbor's house is okay, but I'm glad that it blocked for you. So, talking about dehydrating, one of our friends here in town who does a lot of gardening for themselves, home gardening, and I think maybe they bought vegetables from us in the past. I don't remember, but we went over to their home a week or so ago I think we dropped something off there, or we were picking something up. No, they gave us something. Boy, I can't remember what I did last week. But one of the things that she gave us was some dehydrated tomatoes. And I want to tell you, we're going to dehydrate some tomatoes this year. You can just take them and crush them up and put them on whatever you're going to eat, and it gives it a great flavor. They're delicious. So Judy put up here, I only like sweet beets, but haven't had beets in years. Brussels sprouts, yuck. I've had terrible problems growing Brussels sprouts. The first time we grew Brussels sprouts, they grew really well and they were great. Last year we had a lot of them, but they weren't so good. But I enjoy Brussels sprouts. A lot of boil them up and put a lot of butter on them, saute them a little bit. Very good. But I'm not sure what sweet beets, what you mean by that. There are a lot of different varieties of beets, but normally the way I've heard of them referred to is the sugar beets, which are mostly feed. They use it for animal feed and so forth, and that's what they crush the beets and they use it to kind of melt the ice on the roads. But what we grow is a Detroit red table beet, and it is they are delicious, and they are sweet. They're not syrupy sweet, or not like a strawberry or something like that, but they're sweet. Sandy cooks them with a little bit of vinegar, so they're kind of like a pickled, well, not really, but they get kind of the taste of a pickled beet. And the fresh beets are so much better than canned beets that you get from the store. So Gypsy and Vanilla Gorilla says you can pickle anything. Yeah, I suppose that's very true. But, just because you can doesn't mean you should. The size of a table beet. Yeah, they're not quite the size of a table, but I think this year we had some really bad germination early on with the beets, and I think that they were just separated far enough apart that they really caught on and did well. I didn't even put any boron on the beets this year, and I've got no black spot, nothing. Steve, you could, but I will tell you, I have 2 pounds of Detroit red beet seeds, so it'll be a while before I'll use them. When I used to plant two beds of beets, and they'd be 4 rows double planted. And by that, I mean I cross over the same row twice with the planter. So I'm planting my beets about 2 inches apart and 4 inches in the row. And then if I have the ambition to do so, I'll thin them out with a hoe, just come through with my spade hoe and run across them. So I plant a lot of beets. We get people who will come in and they'll buy not a bushel of beets, but maybe a peck measure, quarter of a bushel kind of a thing, because they want to pickle them and put them up. But I've never heard of pickled potatoes, Jan. I think you're right. So let's see. I missed something here. Hi, Mama.
Hi. Tell everybody I said hi.
Mother Goose says hi to everybody. She just came in. I'm not sure what Sandy was saying she makes in the air fryer, but it is good.
Well, we make
whatever it is. Oh, the Brussels sprouts. Oh, yeah. They got real nice and crisp and different taste, but they were delicious. Yeah, I wasn't saying that ours weren't sweet. They're definitely, beets have a unique flavor to them, I suppose. Some people really don't like them, but when I was a kid, and I may have said this before, I don't know, Um, when I was a kid, my dad would set me down on a row of beets, and he says, "You weed these beets out." And he'd do the tomatoes, and he'd do the peppers, and he'd do around the cucumbers, and he'd do around, and he'd get all that done. And he'd say, "Well, you're just doing a few beets," but it was about a 25-foot row of beets, and he'd plant about 3 rows wide. So it took me a long time to weed them, and I equated that with the taste. I just didn't like them. So yeah, I will be digging up my potatoes next week. I snuck out a few. They were small, but they were early, new potatoes. And I think we're going to have a big potato harvest. I shouldn't speak before I know, but I think we'll have a big potato harvest this year. And our beets, I got plenty. Probably won't take beets to market this year because I want to have enough for us. Also, if anybody's interested, I made a video last year on how to store beets. And I'm still, I mean, we haven't for 3 weeks now because we got fresh beets, but we were eating beets that we had stored from last year, and they were fine. The taste changes a little bit because they've spent a whole winter, but there wasn't a negative or a bad taste. And just on the outer skin, they got a little bit soft. So I don't think I'd want to keep them till next year, but they will definitely make it through the year in that moist pine chips or moist wood chips. And I'm told you can do the same thing with carrots and some other things. So, all right. Well, I'll tell you, folks, Mother Goose is home, and appreciate you all saying hi. And she says hi back.
I'm gonna go check the apple trees.
Okay. Jeff is saying beets are high in sugar, just asking. I don't think they're terribly high in sugar. They've been recommended to me as a diabetic because they have an insulin stabilizing. If you have insulin resistance, it will help fight against insulin resistance. You know, I always see the commercial for Super Beets, and I think to myself, why would anybody put beet powder that you bought from a store that's got to have tons of chemicals in it? Why would you do that when you can just grow beets so easily? But I was talking to Jules Small Gardening, and he has a hard time growing beets. So I think, you know, I live where beets grow well. So, but I suppose in other places, maybe they don't do as well. Yeah, I think the potatoes are about 2 weeks early this year. So as soon as I get back, I'm gonna dig them up. Last year, I lost my entire potato crop to potato bugs. This year, I stayed on top of it, but I also have heard from other people that there haven't been any issues. You know, the potato bugs weren't bad this year. So, yeah, Steve, I don't have it. The only trouble I have with growing beets, the only trouble I have is when you plant large quantities, it's hard to stay on top of it. And I really put as much time as I could into my potatoes this year, and my onions got lost, unfortunately. But the beets this year, they didn't germinate well. And I think it was because I planted them, I got water on them, and then I tried to water them through the drip line irrigation, and the drip lines were too deep in the ground and they didn't get enough water up to the seeds. So we didn't get a good stand. Now my carrots are doing phenomenal this year above the ground, but they're real small below the ground. So I'm hoping they'll catch up. So you found voles in your potato beds. I started to say earlier that I had gophers ate all my sweet potatoes 3 years ago. They ate the centers out of the sweet potatoes. And I know it was gophers because I saw the holes, and one day I saw the gopher going down in the hole, and that gopher didn't eat any more sweet potatoes after that. One of the things that they say with voles are like a mouse with no tail, and the voles will travel down the mole holes. Moles are blind, and they don't look anything like voles, but voles look a lot like field mice without the tails. And one of the things that they say you can do for voles is put hair trimming, you get from your barber shop, and you cut it up and put it in their hole, and it bothers them. Cayenne pepper in gopher holes works pretty well. I've never tried it for voles, but we did it with gopher holes, and they went away. Yeah. I think one of the main things you can do to keep, we have, I don't know how many cats we have. We probably have, I think right now we don't have many. We've got 4 or 5. They kind of travel from barn to barn, farm to farm. And we have some that stay by us, probably 3 or 4 now. We lose them sometimes. I guess wild animals get them and whatnot. But we've got feral cats, and they take care of some of that. What I find, though, is that if you feed the cats at the barn, then they don't want to go out and hunt for mice. So dang woodchucks keep chucking your wood, huh? You think it's woodchucks eating your tomatoes? I wonder. We had a problem last year with something eating our tomatoes, and it could have been woodchucks, or I had a big woodchuck. Looked out one morning, looked out the sliding glass door that comes off our kitchen, and there, sitting right in the barnyard, was this woodchuck. And I think he was living under the cement slab of the Quonset hut, because we'd go into the Quonset hut, and on both sides, the hut's got a concrete floor, but the sides of the building come away from the concrete floor a little bit, and we'd have big piles of rocks. And I don't think gophers could move the rocks that they were moving, so I think it was probably woodchucks. So if you can get them with a pitchfork, you're doing pretty good. Yeah. We get, we get kittens over here, every year, usually in the spring. Sometimes they, come in the late summer, and that's kind of hard on them because then they go through the winter. They really aren't all that big. But we just let them be. I mean, they come, like I say, the females usually will stay around for a while, and the males will take off. Now, of course, we're 5 miles out of town, so our cats aren't really bothering anybody. The male cats, there's a lot of guys around here that'll take the male cats out because they don't want the urine is real bad smelling, but I don't know, they stay outside, they kind of go in the barns, they don't really make that big of a deal, so I just pretty much leave them. J&L Ministries, welcome to the site. Hey, if anybody's on the site here and you don't know, I guess most of the people here would probably know J&L Ministries, but if you don't, go ahead and check out his site. He's on StreamYard quite a bit, doing some discipleship training and things like that. Good stuff. And I don't see Country Homestead Preacher here tonight. I know he canceled his 10 minutes in the Word, but that's time well spent as well over at Country Homestead Preacher. Well, listen, Mama Goose came home a little bit ago, so I'm gonna close off here and get something to eat. But just a last reminder, this Saturday at 7 o'clock Central, I'll be premiering a pre-recorded teaching on the science of Bible study. It'll be the second part in the series. Looks like it's going to turn out to be probably a 4-part series. Join us. Hopefully, I will be able to join the premiere as well. It all depends on if I get good signal where I'm at or not. But Emitzer Shem, we'll see you again. I'm Chicken Johnny. Eat your vegetables. Pickle those beets. All right. We'll see you next time.